Back here, first things first, Undisputed coming up at 9:30 sharp. Jenny Taft, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. Nice to see we're all working here on the network. What are you and the guys talking about today?
Good morning, Jenna. Morning, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for getting things started for us today. Coming up on Undisputed, should the Cowboys be on upset alert against the Redskins today? And how should LeBron feel about his new team barely beating his old team last night? Plus, Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson is in studio with us. Undisputed coming up next. Jenna, back to you.
All right, Jenny, thanks. We look forward to it. Time now.
The comment is Green getting traded if Cousins healthy. Just the rumor going around.
Why would you like it?
Didn't write that comment. He just clicked the little thumbs up or heart or whatever the hell it is on Instagram.
And then came to terms with the fact that
what is off? See, get your mans. That's your mans. Go get it.
Listen, I'm all for KD, but since he mean mugged Jen and I when we were in the garden,
fully mean mugged.
I don't know, and that's just because of you, and that's because we're with you.
Yeah.
So we're trying to support KD. We're out here trying to. We don't understand the Instagram. We don't understand.
Listen, if you want to support KD, Chris can't do it. Jenna can't do it because he's cut off communication. I don't know if there was communication for it, but it's cut off. I obviously can't do it. If you're in KD's life, take his phone. His code is probably all zeros or his basketball number twice. 3535 or try all zeros. One of the two is going to unlock it. Delete all his social media apps. Do it for him. There's one other prominent person. Maybe it'd be a help for him as well. We'll leave him out of it. Delete Kevin Durant's social media apps.
Can't do it, Nick. He can't. He's incapable. He's addicted like someone else we know. No way he can do it.
Man, I use my burner account to like the comments that hate on you, Jenna. Come on,
is
smarter than that.
Not what you do. Moving on to one of the great traditions in sports, the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. It's got a nice ring to it. Cowboys hosting Washington 4 p.m. today on Fox in a battle for supremacy in the NFC East. Dallas looking to make it 3 wins in a row as they push for a playoff spot at 5-5. Here's the quarterback, Dak Prescott, on their mindset entering today's game.
Our backs are against the wall. Regardless, we're not worried about what we've done up to this point. It's about just moving forward, and I think that's allowed us to get on this 2-game winning streak and get the record back to 500. Is because we know our backs are against the walls. Every game matters. Every game is a must-win. Nothing changes this week.
All right, CC, looking at this game, what is the key to this matchup? What has to happen for one of these teams to walk away winners?
Well, let's go from Washington's standpoint. Washington's got to be able to turn Dak over. If Dak, in games where he hadn't committed a turnover, they are undefeated since he's been a Cowboy at 5-0. Washington
5-0 this season.
5-0 this season.
21-2 in his career.
Yeah. So over the course of his career, we've seen Zeke running the ball, them turning the football over, or lack of turning it over. That's going to be the winning formula. Nick, you talked about earlier in the show with Washington how they drafted all this talent with the defensive front, how it matches up with the strength of the Cowboys as far as moving forward. So take Zeke out of that running game. You have to be able to give Colt McCoy, who's filling in for Alex Smith as a backup quarterback, you got to be able to give him an extra 2 or 3 possessions. If you're able to do that, Adrian Peterson behind a bad offensive line, that's the recipe for them if they're going to have success against the Cowboy, that being Washington.
All right, listen, on Washington's side of things, that is the concern, is that, yes, we know the quarterback's injured, but Colt McCoy has filled in for Washington before against Dallas on national television and won. Like, Colt McCoy is a capable backup quarterback. The biggest injury for this particular game, I don't think it's the quarterback injury. I think it's the offensive line injury because it has ruined what was the best thing about their offense, which was the resurgent Adrian Peterson. The last 3 games they played with a fully healthy offensive line, Adrian Peterson averaged 22 carries for $115 and over 5 yards per carry. The 3 games he's played since they've had the injuries to their offensive line, he's averaging 15 carries, 45 yards per game at 3 yards per carry. So that means you can't run the ball. And against Dallas, if you can't run the ball and you have a backup quarterback, I don't see how you score enough points unless, like you were saying, Dak has a bunch of turnovers.
All right, so if you look at it from Dallas's perspective now, obviously the key is to try to get all your offensive weapons involved. It hasn't been the case with Amari Cooper. They've tried. They just have not been able to get this guy into a good rhythm with this offense. Does that start today? How do they do that?
I believe, Jenna, I thought it was going to start last week, but if we've seen in the transition, the football is very, very complicated, and it's more complicated for quarterbacks and wide receivers, especially to be able to change organizations and try to get on the same page. We know that Dallas was challenged from a passing standpoint as far as throwing the ball deep outside on a consistent basis. Amari Cooper, so I'm going to not only blame Amari for some of his lack of growth, because I'm going to just spread it around. I believe Dallas, I believe Sanjay Lowder, wide receiver coach, all of them have to collectively come together to make sure he's a success. Make sure that he is worth that first-round pick. It's also going to help open up the field for other players on that team. So I just believe that at some point, and I think it needs to be now, you should start to see the explosive plays from Amari Cooper. You should start to attack down the field in the outside parts of the field with Amari Cooper. I'm expecting that, and I just believe everyone should be responsible. So I'm not going to blame just the organization. I'm not going to blame Dak. I'm going to blame all of them, because all of them have to be more effective in getting Amari up to speed so that he can make the type of impact that this team needs.
And even as you say, 99% of players in this league are system players.
Yes.
Who is the most responsible for your talent? You,
absolutely.
And so, like Amari, it's never been
any time to think about that.
Okay, sorry, I jumped on you. It was maybe a little bit of a rhetorical question. It's not a work ethic question with Amari. It's not a character question. It's not even an injury question.
And Nick, that's one of the. What was your point?
Is it a chemistry question?
Well, no, because it predates him getting with Dak. Like, that's what is so perplexing about this particular player. He's from Florida. He would have been a more sought-after recruit if he hadn't suffered a major injury, but he still had offers from everywhere. He chose to go to the hardest possible place in the University of Alabama.
Started from day one.
And was spectacular. Comes to the NFL as a top 10 pick.
Started from day one.
And makes the Pro Bowl year 1 and year 2. And now all of a sudden, where did that player go? We can't point to, oh, he got paid, quit trying. Oh, he's having off-the-field issues. None of those things make sense. And so none of those things are the answers, which is why it doesn't make sense. With all that said, Dallas, a week from today, is going to be playing New Orleans. In that game, for them to have any chance, I think all the things you're saying about Amari Cooper have to be true.
You're just talking about get through this game.
Get through this game.
Yeah.
If you win this game, you're in great shape. If you lose this game, you are cooked. If you lose this game, you fall to 5-6. Washington would be 7-4 with they've swept you in the season series. So if Washington just gets to 8 wins after 7-4, that you have to get to 9, which means you got to go 4-1 minimum the rest of the way with that game against New Orleans. So I can't worry about development. I can't worry about justifying the Amari Cooper pick. All I can worry about is what is my best path to win this game. And Jenna, what's the best path for the Cowboys to win football games?
It's the thing they figured out a couple weeks ago, and they're sticking with it. Have Dak Prescott throw for about 200 yards, have Zeke touch the ball 20, 25 times, and let that defense go out and do what it's been doing.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is the formula. The problem was they couldn't do that on the road. They've done that the last 2 road trips, and there was no type of consistency. So now as we get late into the season, are they going to be able to duplicate that? I just believe, I'm with you, Jenna. But I just believe, let's make it a little easier. If I can get 4 pass plays of over 20 yards, Nick,
back to this.
I'm just telling you this works, because it will open up the running game. It will open up other things that potentially they can get their tight end involved or one of the other wide receivers. So yes, but the passing game ultimately, and Amari Cooper and his development, I believe, it's going to determine how good the Cowboys and how many games they're going to win this year.
I agree with that. The passing game with Dak, post year 1, it's been such a mixed bag. And this game, you are playing Colt McCoy. You are at home. You're playing a team that, since they've had the offensive line injuries, even prior to the Alex Smith injury, have scored 14, 16, 21 points. Zeke is averaging 165 yards from scrimmage in your wins with a touchdown in or 6 touchdowns in the wins. Like, he's been great. Go with that. It's your biggest game of the year. This game right here could determine if Jason Garrett's the head coach next year. Like, you can't. I don't want to add variance to this game if I'm Dallas. If I'm Atlanta playing the Saints later in the day, I want to add as much variance as possible because I'm a huge underdog. When I'm Dallas, I have a clear path to victory. You said it. We're 21-2 if you're Dallas when Dak doesn't turn the ball over. It's the best way for him not to turn the ball over, for him to hand it off to number 21. That's what I do. I worry about development later on and what the best version of this team is later on.
It's worth mentioning again, a win today and Dallas pulls into to a tie for first place in the NFC East with Washington. There's that much on the line for this game, especially with what Dallas has coming up in the next couple
The other
of
thing,
games.
too, watch for Michael Gallup. He's been away from the team. His brother tragically took his life when they were in Atlanta, so he didn't come back to Dallas with the team. He's from that area, so watch him because